You're at a gathering, minding your own business, and somehow the most draining person in the room ends up sitting next to you, unloading their problems for the next hour. Or maybe you notice a pattern. Every job you've had, there's been that one coworker who monopolizes your time, demands your emotional labor, and leaves you feeling depleted. Here's another scenario. You can't go to the grocery store without someone stopping you to tell you their life story. Strangers on public transportation gravitate toward the empty seat beside you, and friends call you their therapist, even though you've never offered to play that role. You might think you're just approachable, that you're a good listener, that these are random occurrences, but what if there's a pattern you haven't recognized? What if you're unintentionally broadcasting a signal that energy vampires, people who drain others' emotional and energetic resources, can detect from across a room? Here's the truth. Certain people act like beacons for energy vampires. They possess specific qualities that make them irresistible targets. And if you're one of these people, you've probably spent your whole life wondering why needy, demanding, or draining individuals always seem to find you. Today, I'm revealing 5 signs that you're an energy vampire magnet. These aren't character flaws. In fact, they're often beautiful qualities that make you who you are. But without awareness and boundaries, these same qualities make you a walking buffet for people who feed on others' energy. Once you understand what you're unconsciously projecting, you can learn to protect yourself while still honoring your nature. If you've ever felt like you have an invisible sign that says, "Tell me all your problems," or wondered why you attract the neediest people wherever you go, this is for you. Let's uncover why they always find you, and more importantly, what you can do about it. Sign 1. You have naturally high, radiant energy that others feel immediately. Let's start with what might surprise you. One of the main reasons energy vampires target you is because you have abundant energy to take. You're not low energy or depleted. You're the opposite. You walk into rooms with a natural vitality, a brightness, an aliveness that people can feel even if they can't name it. Energy vampires aren't attracted to people who are already drained. They're attracted to people who are full of life force. Think about it from their perspective. If you're someone who consistently operates with depression, anxiety, or low energy, there's nothing for them to take. But if you're someone who radiates enthusiasm, positivity, or strong life force energy, you're like a power source they can plug into and recharge themselves. They're not consciously aware they're doing this, but energetically, they gravitate toward people who have what they lack. Have you noticed that people often comment on your energy? They say things like, "You light up the room," or "I feel better when I'm around you," or "You have such great energy." Those aren't just compliments, they're literal observations. You're emitting a frequency that others perceive and respond to. I once worked with someone who had this problem severely. She was naturally optimistic, energetic, and warm. Every morning she'd arrive at work feeling great, and within an hour, 3 different people would have stopped by her desk, not for work reasons, but to complain, vent, or seek emotional support. By lunch, she'd be exhausted. She thought something was wrong with her for not being able to handle these interactions. But the problem wasn't her capacity, it was that she was being drained by multiple people daily without realizing it. Here's what most people don't realize. High energy isn't just psychological, it's electromagnetic. Research from the Institute of Heart Math has shown that the heart generates an electromagnetic field that can be detected several feet away from the body, and people with coherent, positive emotional states produce stronger, more measurable fields. Energy vampires unconsciously seek out these strong fields because being near them temporarily elevates their own depleted state. What this looks like in real life: people consistently seek you out when they're feeling down. You're often the first person friends call during a crisis. Strangers feel comfortable approaching you with their problems. After social interactions, you feel significantly more drained than others seem to. People tell you they feel better after spending time with you, but you feel worse. The irony is painful. Your gift, this radiant, life-giving energy, becomes the very thing that attracts people who want to take it from you. And because you're naturally generous, you give it freely, not realizing that some people will take endlessly without reciprocating. This isn't about becoming cold or shutting down your natural warmth. It's about recognizing that your energy is precious, and not everyone who wants access to it deserves unlimited access. You can still be your bright, radiant self while learning to protect your energy from those who would drain it without consideration. If you've always been the positive one, the energetic one, the one people turn to for a boost, you need to understand that this quality, while beautiful, also makes you visible to energy vampires scanning for their next source of vitality. Sign 2. You're highly empathetic and feel compelled to fix others' pain. Now let's explore what might be the most significant vulnerability. You're deeply empathetic, and when you sense someone's pain, you feel an almost compulsive need to relieve it. You can't just witness suffering, you have to do something about it. And energy vampires can sense this quality from a mile away. Your empathy isn't just compassion, it's active. You feel others' emotions in your body. When someone's sad, you feel sad. When someone's anxious, your chest tightens. And because these feelings are uncomfortable, you instinctively try to fix the person's problem so you can feel better. Energy vampires exploit this dynamic without even knowing they're doing it. Think about your patterns. When someone shares a problem with you, can you let it be, or do you immediately start problem solving? When a friend is upset, can you hold space without taking on their emotional burden? When someone's in pain, can you maintain your own emotional center, or do you merge with their experience? For most energy vampire magnets, the answer is no. You absorb what others feel, and then you work tirelessly to fix it. Not just because you care about them, but because you're carrying their emotions and need relief. A woman I know described this pattern perfectly. Every time her sister called upset about something, she'd spend hours on the phone trying to solve the problem. She'd lose sleep worrying about it. She'd research solutions, make phone calls on her sister's behalf, carry the stress in her body. Meanwhile, her sister would feel better after venting and move on with her day. One person was using the other as an emotional dumping ground, and the empathetic one was treating every dumped emotion as her own responsibility to resolve. This brings us to a crucial distinction: compassion versus enmeshment. Compassion means you can feel for someone while maintaining your own boundaries. Enmeshment means you lose yourself in others' experiences, taking on their pain as if it's yours to carry. Energy vampires don't want compassion, they want enmeshment, because that's what gives them complete access to your energy. Studies at Stanford University's Center for Compassion and Altruism Research have found that while empathy can motivate helping behavior, unchecked empathetic distress, absorbing others' suffering, leads to burnout, compassion fatigue, and depleted well-being. That's exactly what energy vampires cause in their targets. This vulnerability manifests as feeling responsible for others' emotional states, taking on others' problems as if they're your own, difficulty saying no when someone needs help, physical or emotional exhaustion after being around people who complain frequently, guilt when you can't fix someone's problem, and attracting people who have constant crises but never seem to improve. Here's the pattern energy vampires exploit. They share their pain, you absorb it and try to fix it. They feel temporarily better. Then they return with another problem because you've proven you're willing to carry their burden. It becomes a cycle where they're perpetually unloading and you're perpetually absorbing without any real resolution or reciprocity. You're not imagining that certain people drain you more than others. They do. And your empathy, that beautiful capacity to feel deeply, is the hook they use to access your energy repeatedly. Learning to feel for someone without feeling as them is honestly one of the most important skills you can develop. This is a perfect time to adjust your playback speed if you need to, find the rhythm that works for you, and please don't skip ahead. Each sign builds on the others to show you the complete picture of why energy vampires target you and how to protect yourself. You'll want all 5 pieces. Sign 3. You have weak or porous energetic boundaries. Here's where we get to the core issue. Your energetic boundaries are either weak or non-existent. While some people have natural energetic shields that keep others' energy out, you're more like a sponge, absorbing everything around you without distinction. Energy vampires sense this permeability and know, consciously or not, that they can penetrate your field easily. Boundaries aren't just about saying no verbally. They're energetic structures that determine what energy you allow into your field and what you keep out. People with strong boundaries can be in the presence of someone chaotic or negative without taking on that person's state. People with weak boundaries absorb everything, the good, the bad, and the draining, without filtering. Have you ever noticed that after spending time with certain people, you feel like you're carrying their problems, their mood, their energy? That you can't shake the interaction even hours later? That's because their energy entered your field, and you didn't have boundaries strong enough to keep it out. Let me give you a concrete example. I know someone who would meet a friend for coffee, and the friend would complain for an hour straight about work, relationships, everything. After these meetings, my friend would go home feeling irritable, anxious, and exhausted, emotions that weren't hers before the coffee date. She was absorbing her friend's state without any energetic filter. Meanwhile, the friend felt lighter and refreshed. One person had strong boundaries, could dump without absorbing, and the other had weak ones, absorbing without protecting. What's really happening here? Your aura, the electromagnetic field around your body, should act as a protective barrier, allowing in what nourishes you and keeping out what depletes you. But when your boundaries are weak, your aura is porous. It's like having a screen door instead of a solid door. Everything flows right through. Research in bioenergetics has documented that individuals with diffuse electromagnetic boundaries report higher levels of emotional contagion, literally catching others' emotions, and increased susceptibility to environmental stresses. Your weak boundaries aren't a character flaw. They're an energetic configuration that can be strengthened with awareness and practice. Weak boundaries show up as, well, feeling depleted after being in crowds or around certain people. You might find yourself taking on others' moods without even realizing it. It's often difficult to distinguish your feelings from others' feelings. Maybe you say yes when you actually want to say no, or you feel guilty for protecting your time or energy. Sometimes you might notice that you attract people who have no respect for your limits. Let's do a quick reflection on your boundaries. Can you spend time with someone negative without becoming negative yourself? Do you often feel like you're carrying others' emotions or problems? Is it difficult for you to say no, even when you're already overwhelmed? Do you feel responsible for managing others' feelings? If you answered yes to most of these, your boundaries probably need strengthening. Energy vampires can sense porous boundaries the way sharks sense blood in water. They know, not intellectually, but instinctively, that you won't or can't keep them out. So they move in, make themselves comfortable, and take what they need, often without ever realizing the impact on you. The good news? Boundaries can be developed. You're not stuck being a sponge forever. But first, you have to recognize that weak boundaries are a primary reason energy vampires target you consistently. They're not finding you randomly. They're finding the open door. Sign 4, you're a natural giver who struggles to receive. Let's discuss another quality that makes you, well, irresistible to energy vampires. You're wired to give. You derive meaning and identity from helping others, offering support, being useful. But when someone tries to give to you, whether it's time, energy, support, or even compliments, you deflect, minimize, or feel uncomfortable. This creates a one-way flow of energy, and energy vampires thrive in one-way relationships. Think about your giving patterns. Do you go out of your way to help others but feel awkward when they try to help you? Do you struggle to ask for support even when you desperately need it? When someone offers you something, do you immediately say, "No, I'm fine," even when you're not? This isn't just politeness or self-sufficiency. It's an energetic imbalance. You're designed as an outflow valve with no inflow mechanism. And energy vampires are naturally attracted to people who give endlessly without requiring reciprocity, because it means they never have to give back. I once worked with a natural giver, someone who would help anyone with anything, moving, emotional support, career advice, you name it. But when her own life fell apart and she needed help, she just couldn't bring herself to ask for it. She felt like a burden, honestly. She told herself she should be able to handle things alone. Meanwhile, the people she'd helped for years didn't even know she was struggling, because she never let on. She'd created this pattern where everyone knew her as the giver, never the receiver, and, well, that pattern attracted people who were happy to take indefinitely. Here's what's really at play. One-way relationships feel comfortable to energy vampires. They don't have to give, reciprocate, or even consider your needs. You make it easy by never asking for anything in return. They learn that with you, the flow only goes in one direction, from you to them, and that's exactly the dynamic they prefer. But here's the deeper truth. Your inability to receive is often rooted in unworthiness. Somewhere along the line, you internalize the belief that your value comes from what you give, not from who you are. So you give compulsively to prove your worth, and you avoid receiving because it feels like admitting need or weakness. Energy vampires exploit this dynamic unconsciously, taking everything you offer while you never ask for anything back. This pattern looks like, always being the helper, never the helped, feeling uncomfortable or guilty when someone does something for you, deflecting compliments instead of receiving them, believing your worth is tied to your usefulness, attracting people who take constantly but give rarely or never, and feeling resentful but unable to express it because they never asked, I offered. The key shift here is understanding that healthy relationships require reciprocal energy exchange. When you only give and never receive, you're not being noble. You're creating an unsustainable dynamic that will eventually leave you depleted, resentful, and surrounded by people who are comfortable using you. Energy vampires don't seek out balanced relationships. They seek out people who will give without expectation of return. And if you're someone who can't receive, you're advertising yourself as exactly that kind of person. Your inability to receive isn't protecting you, it's attracting the wrong people and repelling the right ones. If you're seeing yourself clearly in these patterns and realizing why certain people have always gravitated toward you, I'd truly appreciate if you subscribed, not in a pushy way, just if this content is helping you understand your experiences. I create this for people who are ready to stop being energetic ATMs for others. Sign 5. You tend to see the potential in people rather than their current reality. Here's the final sign, and honestly, it might be the most dangerous. You look at people and see who they could be, not who they actually are. You see their potential, their wounded inner child, their capacity for growth, and energy vampires love this about you because it means you'll tolerate their current draining behavior while holding on to the hope that they'll eventually change. This isn't optimism, it's a specific perceptual pattern where you assign more value to someone's theoretical future self than their demonstrated present behavior. And it keeps you engaged with people who are actively harming you because you're not responding to what they're doing, you're responding to who you believe they can become. Think about relationships where you've stayed far too long. Were you staying because the person was actually good for you, or because you believed they could become good for you if they just healed, grew, or changed? Did you find yourself making excuses for their behavior, explaining to others why they acted the way they did, convincing yourself that underneath it all, they were really a good person going through a hard time? A friend stayed in a draining friendship for 3 years because she kept seeing her friend's potential. Her friend would cancel plans constantly, only call when she needed something and never reciprocate emotional support. But my friend would say, she's been through so much. Once she heals, she'll be able to show up for me. 3 years later, her friend hadn't changed at all. The only thing that changed was how much energy my friend had left, which was almost none. This brings us to a hard truth. Seeing someone's potential doesn't obligate you to stay while they fail to actualize it. You can recognize that someone has capacity for growth, while also acknowledging that they're not currently doing the work. And if someone is draining you in the present, their theoretical future self is irrelevant to whether you should maintain the relationship. Energy vampires often have tragic backstories, legitimate trauma, and real reasons for their behavior. But here's what you need to understand. You can acknowledge someone's pain without signing up to be their permanent emotional support system. You can have compassion for their wounds without allowing them to wound you in return. This tendency manifests as staying in draining relationships because they're working on themselves, making excuses for people's poor behavior, believing you can love someone into healing, ignoring red flags because you focus on green possibilities, feeling responsible for helping people reach their potential, and attracting people who are always about to change but never actually do. The dangerous part about seeing potential is that it keeps you engaged past every boundary violation, every energy drain, every sign that the relationship is harming you. Each time they disappoint you, instead of recognizing the pattern, you think, but they have so much potential. I just need to be patient. Meanwhile, they're using your patience and hope as permission to keep taking from you without changing their behavior. What you're really doing is projecting your own growth capacity onto others. Because you're someone who works on yourself and actualizes your potential, you assume everyone operates this way. But many people, especially energy vampires, are comfortable exactly as they are. They have no intention of changing because their current patterns work for them. They have people like you who absorb their dysfunction while they remain unchanged. The shift you need to make is this: start responding to people's actual behavior, not their potential. Believe what they show you, not what you hope they'll become. And, understand that your vision of someone's potential doesn't obligate you to stay while they make no effort to reach it. If this content has helped you see patterns you've been living with for years, there's a thanks button below where you can contribute if you feel called to. No pressure whatsoever. I'm grateful you're here. But support helps me keep creating resources for people learning to protect their precious energy. Let's bring this all together. We've explored 5 signs that you're an energy vampire magnet. 1, you have naturally high radiant energy that others feel immediately. 2, you're highly empathetic and feel compelled to fix others' pain. 3, you have weak or porous energetic boundaries. 4, you're a natural giver who struggles to receive. And 5, you tend to see potential in people rather than their current reality. If you recognized yourself in these signs, here's what I need you to understand. You're not attracting energy vampires because something's wrong with you. You're attracting them because something's right with you. You have beautiful qualities that, without protection, become vulnerabilities that draining people exploit. The solution isn't to shut down your warmth, stop being empathetic, or become cynical about people's potential. The solution is to develop discernment, establish boundaries, and learn to protect your energy while still honoring your nature. You can be all the beautiful things you are without being a feeding station for people who take without giving back. 3 simple daily practices to protect your energy. Morning energy shield visualization. Each morning before you start your day, close your eyes and visualize a golden shield of light surrounding your entire body. Set the intention: I am protected. Only energy that serves my highest good can enter my field. I release all energy that doesn't belong to me. This takes about 90 seconds and creates an energetic boundary that actually works. The reciprocity. Check. Before saying yes to any request for your time or energy, ask yourself, is this relationship reciprocal? Do they give back in proportion to what they take? If the answer is consistently no, it's time to reduce your availability. Reciprocity is the hallmark of healthy relationships. If it's not there, you're not in a relationship, you're in an extraction. Evening energy clearing. Each night, stand in the shower and visualize all energy that isn't yours, washing off your body and going down the drain. Say out loud or silently, I release all energy I absorbed today that doesn't belong to me. I reclaim my own energy. I am complete within myself. This prevents the accumulation of others' energy in your field. Here's what I want you to take away from this. Your energy is sacred. It's not an unlimited resource that you owe to anyone who asks for it. Some people will be upset when you start protecting it, especially the ones who've been feeding on it freely. That's okay. Their discomfort with your boundaries is not your responsibility. You get to decide who has access to your energy. You get to say no. You get to choose relationships where energy flows both directions. And you get to release people who drain you without guilt, knowing that their growth is their responsibility, not yours. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which sign resonated most deeply? Have you recognized patterns in the types of people you attract? What's your biggest challenge in protecting your energy? Your experiences matter, and sharing them helps others feel less alone. And that next video calling to you? Your intuition is guiding you to exactly what you need next. Trust that pull and click through. Keep protecting your light. It's too precious to give away to people who don't cherish it.